Chapter 341, Ferocious Tiger Flurry. Wang Jiaxi's play style was both flashy and quick. On the other hand, most elementalist spells required a long cast time. Even if you didn't dodge his attacks, using magic to attack wouldn't be easy. However, Chu Yongshu wasn't the only person who was fighting. Su Mucheng served as her helper. Seeing that Chu Yongshu was intent on charging forward, she immediately began firing back ferociously. Artillery shells soared through the air, trying to force Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria to retreat. Chu Yongshu seized this opportunity. As long as the attacks that reached her didn't interrupt her cast time, she wouldn't need to care about them. A long chain of spells fired towards Wu Yusa's carved ghost. Ice, fire, light, dark elemental spells. Some were main skills Chu Yongshu's Windy Rain chose to learn, while others were only learned for use when stalling for cooldowns. Right now, she was using all of them, creating a magic explosion that could flatten the lands. Wu Yusa's carved ghost didn't have much health left in the first place, so when he saw Chu Yongshu's map bomb, he immediately felt a sudden surge of despair. On his team, Zhang Jinji's cleric Immovable Rock had hastily run over to rescue him, but in the end, he was one step too late and Wu Yusa's carved ghost died under who knew which spell. After a short moment, Carved Ghost's name faded away from the team list. Glory Alliance's famous Ghostblade duo had fallen. Now, Team 2 only had 3 players remaining in battle: Wang Jiaxi, Deng Fusheng, Zhang Jinji. It had been said that these 3 players' classes comprised of the classic Iron Triangle formation with their tank, mage, and cleric. It was true that this type of formation was incredible in PvE, but it was also a very balanced formation in PvP. However, they were unfortunately in a 3v5 situation. Even with this formation, perhaps only a miracle could save them. The pros wouldn't give up so easily though. Team 1's biggest weakness was that they had no heals. Chu Yongshu's Windy Rain had forcefully pushed forward to kill off Carved Ghost and she currently had the least health on her team. Wang Jiaxi could only watch as Carved Ghost died in battle and switched his focus onto Windy Rain. Chu Yongshu had just used everything she had, so the majority of her spells were on cooldown. Her health pool and defense were low as well. If this was a 1v1 duel, then Wang Jiaxi could probably take her down in less than 30 seconds. Unfortunately, she still had 4 teammates. If Wang Jiaxi wanted to attack her, how would Team 1's other 4 players not notice? As a result, Team 1 immediately rushed forward in order to save her. For a brief moment, it was as if Deng Fusheng and Zhang Jinji had been forgotten. Wang Jiaxi's awareness and decision-making were extremely good. When he saw that Team 1 was coming to defend Chu Yongshu, he immediately made the decision to give up on the easiest target to kill and switch to Su Mucheng's Dancing Rain as his main focus. Valkyria swept his broom and shot forward, directly at Dancing Rain. Su Mucheng didn't react slowly either. She lifted her hands and fired anti-tank missiles towards Valkyria. Suddenly, a shadow jumped out. To her surprise, it was Deng Fusheng's Knight Angelica. He didn't have enough time to interrupt Su Mucheng's attack, so he leapt into the air with his shield raised. The artillery barrage was dispersed as he took the attack for Valkyria. Deng Fusheng and Wang Jiaxi were partners on the same team. This sort of coordination was already like an instinct to them. Valkyria blocked the anti-tank missiles and, as soon as his body began falling back to the ground, Valkyria flew past him. In midair, he simultaneously leapt off his broom, while doing a sweep. Su Mucheng didn't have time to dodge and was launched into the air by Valkyria. Shua 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 shua. In the air, Valkyria's broom danced in the air. The arcs left by his broom looked as if the broom were cleaning up the air. Valkyria's broom wasn't any ordinary item. It was also a famous silver weapon with quite a haughty name too, Stardust Extermination. Truthfully, his attacks on Dancing Rain were only normal attacks, but the dazzling visual effects looked as if he were using all sorts of skills. Every time his broom swept, it seemed as if the stars were being shattered into glittering dust. Team 1's other teammates weren't just going to stand around and watch. They immediately pounced forward to rescue her. Zhou Zikai had already begun firing, but Deng Fusheng once again leapt up to defend. As the bullets were being blocked, Zhang Jinji's Immovable Rock didn't stand still either. He healed and also cast sacred fire-type skills to restrict the wolf-like pursuers. With just this, it wouldn't be enough to block these 4 gods, but the battle dragged on. He should be here soon, Zhang Jinji thought to himself. It wasn't a coincidence that Team 1 had intentionally chosen this place to fight in Team 2's dead angles. Team 1 had the ability to see the projection though, and they noticed that Team 2's reserve player had finally arrived. Careful, Yu Wenzhou warned. He saw that Han Wenking's desert dust was approaching from a rooftop behind them. As soon as his warning fell, Han Wenking's desert dust leapt over the rooftop. As he landed, his left fist extended out in front of him, while his right fist was next to his waist as if it were storing energy. Ferocious Tiger Flurry. As soon as they saw his stance, they immediately knew what desert dust was about to do. Striker level 70 skill, Ferocious Tiger Flurry. His fist shot forward and the strong wind surged into a tiger's roar as a blurry image of a tiger appeared behind him. His punch exploded towards the right shoulder of Yu Wenzhou's Swaksar. Yu Wenzhou had known what Han Wenking was going to do. Even though his hands were slow, it wasn't so slow that there was nothing he could do. When his punch exploded forward, Yu Wenzhou was able to roll backwards, allowing Swaksar to dodge it. However, Ferocious Tiger Flurry didn't end with just a single punch. Desert dust landed on the ground and shot forward like a shooting star. His strikes came out from every direction, trapping Team 1 in his flurry of fists, especially Swaksar, who was in the middle of it all. This sort of chain attack was very difficult for Yu Wenzhou to deal with. After a few exchanges, his methods were blown apart as Han Wenking's desert dust continued to attack unceasingly. Bang! Amidst the ferocious tiger flurry, a clear bang like a dragon's roar sounded out. A blade light flashed like thunder, ripping apart the storm, slicing towards desert dust. Oh! The stadium erupted into cries of astonishment. Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain had finally acted. This was also a Blade Master high-level skill, Formless Phantom Blade. The blade light intersected. The flurry of fists howled. Han Wenking couldn't ignore it. He immediately turned the direction of his ferocious tiger flurry to directly meet with Formless Phantom Blade head-on. This was his favorite fighting style. They were both level 70 skills. It was impossible to say which one was stronger or weaker. It all depended on how the players wielded them. One was a sword saint. The other a king of fighting. No matter if it was player or character, they both stood at the top of glory. Huang Shaoshan was at his prime. On the other hand, Han Wenking was one of the oldest players there. Even if he refused to admit it, he knew that he no longer had the same energy as he did during his prime. He could only rely on his stubborn determination and his everlasting desire for victory to push him forward now. Even if this was the all-star competition, Han Wenking's drive burned as strong as ever. Against such an opponent, Huang Shaoshan was clearly feeling enormous pressure. At the very least, he didn't have time to do any trash-talk word bubble attacks. In the end, the two sides were equal and neither could gain an advantage over the other. However, these types of skills didn't last forever. Ferocious Tiger Flurry had exploded out first, while Formless Phantom Blade had come after. In any case, Ferocious Tiger Flurry would certainly stop first, and at that moment. That moment came in the blink of an eye. Ferocious Tiger Flurry's final fist was a fierce punch from his right hand, but Huang Shaoshan had been waiting for this moment. He gently leapt backwards and dodged outside of the attack's range. His blade flashed like lightning and Formless Phantom Blade continued to slice forward. This was the scariest part about Huang Shaoshan. His ability to seize an opportunity was what made him tower above others at the peak of glory. Even for Han Wenking, there was no way of dodging it. His ferocious tiger flurry was in its ending animation. No matter how exceptional one's mechanics were or how determined one was, there was no way one could change how the system worked. However, this wasn't a 1v1 duel. This was a team battle. Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain stepped forward and his blade thrust out, but a field of white flames suddenly erupted from in front of him. This step forward had to be made. When he had dodged Ferocious Tiger Flurry's final strike, he had to jump away one step. If he didn't step forward, then his attack wouldn't have hit. By the time Huang Xiaoshan saw the flames, it was already too late. Due to the nature of the chain skill, his hands were working faster than his mind was. When he realized he needed to get away, his troubling rain had already rushed forward. Sacred Fire. The sacred fire from Zhang Jinji's cleric, a movable rock. The instant the sacred fire ignited his body, the level 70 skill was immediately interrupted. The support cleric had only this one pure offensive skill, which silenced the character and the player. Even with no skills left to use, Huang Xiaoshan refused to let this opportunity go by. His normal attack stabbed towards Desert Dust, who was still in his ending animation. He then retreated, seeking his team's protection temporarily. The battle was now a 5v4. Team 1 had the numbers advantage, but Chu Yongshu's Windy Rain had lost a lot of health and had no way of recover it. Huang Xiaoshan's Troubling Rain was still being burned by Sacred Fire and wouldn't be able to use skills for 3 seconds. However, even worse was Su Mucheng's Dancing Rain. Han Wenking's sudden attack had disrupted Team 1's rescue mission. At this moment, Su Mucheng was being suppressed miserably by Wang Jiaxi's attacks and it looked as if she wasn't going to be able to hang on for much longer. Chapter 342, The Violent Ladies. In the all-star competition, there would certainly be a shot caller. However, when an individual chose to go on his own, the shot caller wouldn't forcefully stop him. After all, this was only for fun. The audience watched it for fun and most of the players wanted to have fun, too. For example, in normal matches where a win or loss mattered, risky strategies might only be employed under very careful consideration, but in the all-star competition, they wouldn't give it a second thought. Chu Yongshu's previous forceful maneuver was something she would very rarely do in an official match. And this time, Chu Yongshu once again went out heroically on her own. When she saw that her good friend, Su Mucheng, was getting bullied by Wang Jiaxi, she immediately mustered up her courage and abandoned the team. Her elementalist charged forward like a brave war god in order to rescue her. Yu Wenzhou looked at this and saw that things were starting to get messy. He wasn't unfamiliar with this type of scene and he didn't really care. He was also an old god. He had participated in the All-Stars several times and had taken the responsibility of shot caller several times as well. When the battle got heated, some players liked to fight on their own. This was something that happened every time in the All-Star match, so no one really cared. But this time, the first one to get heated up in Team 1 was unexpectedly Chu Yongshu. This was something that surprised Yu Wenzhou. The god, who was well known for breaking down at crucial moments, seemed to be having a lot of fun today. But when he thought again more carefully, in their team composition, Chu Yongshu really might be the only person who would run out heroically like that. On their team, Yu Wenzhou certainly wouldn't and Huang Xiaoshan was his teammate. If the shot caller had been someone else, then he might have jumped out to go solo. But with Yu Wenzhou taking the seat, he wasn't going to sell off his team captain's face. As for Su Mucheng, she was someone who was accustomed to supporting and coordinating with others. In all her years of playing, she had never displayed any individual style. Besides them, Zhou Zekai's playing was certainly dazzling, but he himself was more of the quiet and obedient type. Playing flashily was certainly his play style, but his individual personality wasn't the show-off type. As for Chu Yongshu, she didn't seem like the sort of player to do this, but compared to the rest of them, she was the most likely. And the reality showed this. She was already beginning to ignore everyone else and play on her own. This was already almost a type of rule in the all-star competition. It might be someone starting off making a scene and then get more and more serious, or it might be starting off serious and then slowly relaxing. This time, the battle started off abnormally intense. And now, someone had finally stepped out in an all-star competition style. No one would complain about this. When Yu Wenzhou saw Chu Yongshu charge forward, he immediately had the others coordinate with her. Even though this wasn't the best choice of tactics, no one would actually argue over something like this. Team 2 immediately understood Team 1's intent. Han Wenking, Zhang Jinji and Deng Fusheng grouped together to face them. Han Wenking was the main attacker. Deng Fusheng would defend. Zhang Jinji would give support. It was another iron triangle formation and the three played exceptionally well. For a short while, they were actually able to block Team 1's 4 players. Scatter, Yu Wenzhou said. Facing the iron triangle head-on wasn't going to work. The other side had a knight with high defense to protect and a cleric to heal. And what did they have? They were all DPS and they could only attack. If they were hit by their opponent, then that damage would stick with them. They didn't have any way to recover from it. Under Yu Wenzhou's orders, the team still followed them like before. They immediately scattered. Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain continued to charge forward. On the other hand, Zhou Zekai's Cloud Piercer circled around to their side wing, firing while heading towards Wang Jiaxi. Su Mucheng was getting closer now. The only thought on Chu Yongshu's mind had been to rescue Su Mucheng. There was nothing to hesitate about. She directly treated the 3 blockers as air and rushed forward to rescue her. As for Yu Wenzhou, he was beginning to coordinate with Huang Shaoshan in order to restrict the iron triangle. Team 2's 3 players concentrated on meeting the attack, and as they were pushed back, they remained in communication with Wang Jiaxi. They couldn't let Wang Jiaxi get isolated by the enemy. Right now, even though they only had 4 players, because they had heals, they weren't too worried. Zhang Jinji was a top-tier cleric and he was extremely adept at long, drawn-out battles. Chen Guo was very worried because the player she most supported was in a very bad spot. Chen Guo also played a launcher, so she was very familiar with the class. Launchers possessed the highest range out of all 24 classes, but their ability in close combat was quite poor. On the other hand, Wang Jiaxi's Witch was a class that had all sorts of different attacks. Wang Jiaxi also had the name Magician. Su Mucheng had nowhere to run and was being suppressed thoroughly. How long can I last? Su Mucheng asked herself. Even though this was only the all-star competition, it wasn't like she'd be happy if she lost. That would be too unprofessional. Su Mucheng tried hard to hang on and saw her teammates coming, especially Chu Yongshu, who was practically not caring about anything else other than helping her to escape. But she didn't feel much hope for the rescue. She was even feeling a bit bad because of it. She couldn't help but think of someone. If it was him, would she be bullied like this by Wang Jiaxi? Bully. Using that word was a bit excessive, but her current situation really did look like that. Su Mucheng couldn't do anything about Wang Jiaxi's attacks. It wasn't as if she didn't have any confidence in her teammates. Yu Wenzhou's tactics and shot-calling wouldn't be any weaker than Yi Shu's. Huang Shaoshan and Zhou Zekai's mechanics were top-tier. And when Chu Yongshu rushed forward to rescue her, she didn't care about anything else but the rescue. She knew all this, but she always felt that if Yi Shu was there, it definitely wouldn't be the same. Even if it was only him, it definitely wouldn't. Su Mucheng discovered that, in the end, she wasn't very tough. The times when she was tough were times where she knew that even if he wasn't beside her, he would always be supporting her. Even if the heavens collapsed, he would definitely hold it up and she would be standing in a corner, okay? But this time, Su Mucheng glanced at the audience, but she didn't see anything. However, she understood that that spot wouldn't have anyone sitting there. He wouldn't be coming today, let alone suddenly jumping out onto the stage, playing in the match, and fighting the opponent like yesterday. What she wanted to happen, wouldn't happen. Right now, she could only rely on herself. Yu Wenzhou, Huang Shaoshan, Zhou Zekai, even Chu Yongshu. Su Mucheng had never thought of relying on them. She had to rely on herself. When he left the scene, she had already made this decision. But why did she completely forget it when she saw that he wasn't far away? The current him wasn't in a very good situation. If she kept on relying on him, wouldn't she turn into a burden? She liked to be by his side as a helper, but she didn't want to be a burden. It was time to rely on herself. Su Mucheng told herself again. She glanced at her situation and then suddenly swung her gun. Swing was a low-level knock-up skill. The cannon in her hands would swing up at the opponent. It hit. Even Su Mucheng wasn't sure if it was because she was fired up or because she had made a lucky hit, but her perception and fingers suddenly erupted. In any case, when Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria shot towards her dancing rain, her swing accurately connected with Valkyria. Valkyria was immediately launched into the air. Su Mucheng's fundamentals were solid. She followed up with a barbecue and, even for a god like Wang Jiaxi, he didn't have time to defend. A knee strike hit Valkyria, launching him even higher into the air. She then used a Gatling gun and the chain of bullets battered Valkyria. This low-level skill's damage might not do much in the overall scheme of the battle, but after using barbecue, Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria was sent far away. Using this barbecue, Su Mucheng beautifully performed a delivery gun and planned to send Valkyria all the way to the Iron Triangle formation. This change was too sudden. Let alone others, even Su Mucheng was surprised that her move actually disrupted Wang Jiaxi's attacks. What's with the two girls today? Why are they suddenly so brave all of a sudden? Yu Wenzhou muttered, but his hand stayed as steady as ever. Seeing that the situation had changed, he immediately set up a new formation. Nice, Huang Shaoshan's spirits fired up as well. He brandished his blade and rushed forward to welcome Valkyria. In the end, barbecue wasn't a skill with an enforced knockdown effect. The system didn't enforce it. As for Wang Jiaxi, sending his Valkyria over to crash into his teammates like a meat bullet simply wasn't going to happen. At this moment, Huang Shaoshan wanted to follow up. Seeing that Wang Jiaxi was about to fall, he suddenly drew his sword and used a falling phoenix slash in order to knock down Valkyria. Wang Jiaxi had seen this coming. He could still move a bit in the air. He forced his broom to turn and his character swirled around like a snake. The broom attack of his had an extremely long range and, in an instant, it arrived before Huang Shaoshan's falling phoenix slash. Huang Shaoshan was also extremely good at adapting. As soon as he saw that his attack wasn't going to hit, he immediately changed to a guard and was knocked back by the broom attack. Suddenly, a pillar of light descended from the sky, enveloping Valkyria. The pillar of light crashed to the ground and then split into 6 smaller pillars of light. They swept across the field and even caught Han Wenqing and the other Team 2 members in it. Everyone recognized that this was the launcher level 70 skill, satellite beam, which dealt tons of damage. Girls today really are quite violent, huh? Yu Wenzhou mumbled. Without a doubt, this satellite beam had been executed by Su Mucheng. Chapter 343, Satisfying Conclusion. When this satellite beam came out, Team 2 finally fell into disorder. Wang Jiaxi's Valkyria had been caught directly in the middle of the beam. Let alone flying away, if he didn't get pressed to the ground, that would have already been considered quite impressive. Furthermore, the 4 revolving, smaller pillars disrupted the Iron Triangle formation. How could Huang Shaoshan and Zhou Zikai miss this opportunity? They were on the same team as Su Mucheng, so they were immune to her skills. The satellite beam wouldn't do anything to them. As soon as Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain landed on the ground, he used a triple slash to close in and make his way into the middle of the enemy team. Zhou Zekai's Cloud Piercer was even faster. He hadn't even arrived yet and bullets were already being fired. Their two thoughts were one and the same. They wanted to seize this opportunity to take down Zhang Jinji's cleric. Clerics weren't good in combat. Without any support, dodging the satellite beam while facing the attacks from 2 gods, Zhang Jinji's play was as meticulous as ever. But he truly wasn't able to defend against the 2 of them. At the same time, when Yu Wenzhou saw that the enemy team was in disorder, he immediately used a high-level skill. He summoned chaotic rain and the skies transformed into a field of chaotic, black smoke, filled with evil intent. Anyone who saw the dark purple rain fall down would immediately feel disgusted by it. This chaotic rain's special effect was that there was a chance to confuse an enemy target inside the rain. Under the status effect, the character's movements could not be controlled, which was naturally very troublesome to deal with. Han Wenqing had originally planned on saving Zhang Jinji, but as soon as he saw this skill being used, he didn't dare go up and instead, jumped out from the attack's range. But then, with a crash, Chu Yongshu's elementalist summoned several ice walls in a straight line. She didn't explode them, either. She was clearly trying to block him. Team 1's players didn't need any shot calling. They naturally coordinated together simply because it was too obvious what they needed to do. Their levels of tactical insight were all very high, so they all made the same decisions. The audience's applause never stopped. This year's All-Star competition simply had way too many highlights. Almost all of the All-Stars had their own astonishing moments, upping the intensity with each play. And this time, Su Mucheng's sudden gleam of light had turned into the deciding play. For a moment, Team 2's 4 players weren't able to find a way to fight back. Against Huang Xiaoshan's and Zhou Zekai's combined efforts, Zhang Jinji was finally unrescuable and became Team 2's third death in this battle. Now, the result was obvious. Zhang Jinji's cleric had originally been Team 2's biggest advantage. Now that they were at a numbers disadvantage and without their biggest advantage, their chances of winning were very low. Even worse, not a single player on Team 1 had yet to die. If they could last until the end, it would be a perfect victory, which would be quite embarrassing for Team 2's players. However, this was the All-Star competition after all. At this point, if this were an official match, they would certainly continue fighting. But for this competition, they wouldn't take it as seriously. However, Team 2 had Han Wenqing. This veteran would never cower at any moment. From Team 1's perspective, they didn't want Team 2 to become too embarrassed, so they charged in and recklessly fought. In the end, Team 2 was finally wiped out, but Team 1 had also lost 3 characters, so there was no perfect victory. No one bickered about the end result. Both sides had played quite garishly. Even though no other high tide appeared, the excited atmosphere was still held. When Team 2's Han Wenqing's desert dust finally fell, the applause and cheers hit its peak. Many of Team 1's fans stood up, yelling the names of the players they supported. Without a doubt, the 2 words Zhou Zekai stood out the loudest. Old Han, how fierce, Yu Wenzhou muttered again. Han Wenqing had fought till the very last moment. If Team 1 hadn't taken it seriously at the end, they might have been the ones wiped out. Amidst the crowd's applause and cheers, the 12 players came down from their booths and returned to the center, along with the other All-Stars who had played in the individual and group competition. The electronic screen displayed the final point count. Team 1 had obtained the victory. Team 1's fans were happy and excited. But for Team 2, even though they knew that it didn't count for anything, it still didn't feel good to lose. In the end, the team representatives received interviews and Samsara's Zhou Zekai went up once again. This was, after all, his team's home stadium. The questions asked in the interview were simply courtesy words. The match was amazing, the audience was great, this year's All-Star weekend was successful, and he hoped he could come back again next year. With Zhou Zekai's style, it had taken a lot of effort to get the answers out of him. It basically went like this. Did you find the match amazing or not? Yes. Did you find the crowd great or not? Great. What did you think of this year's All-Star weekend? Very successful. What are your hopes for next time? That I can participate. And so on. Once the official part of the event was over, the rest was just an event where they gave out souvenirs, and there was no lack of souvenirs with the All-Stars' signatures on them. If this was in the past, Chen Guo would have risked her life to get Su Mucheng's signature. But now that she knew Yishu's identity, Chen Guo felt a sense of superiority arise. This was because she was very clear that, with her relationship with Yishu, getting Su Mucheng's signature wouldn't be difficult at all. As a result, she didn't feel pressed to get it. At the same time, her relationship with Yishu also made it difficult for them to get out of the stadium. They were unexpectedly ambushed by a mob of reporters. As soon as they saw the two of them, they took out their pens, notepads, etc. and surrounded them. They were naturally there to ask about Yishu's situation. Chen Guo had originally thought of simply replying with, "I don't know," but Tang Ru stopped her and actually went up to politely respond to the reporters' questions. After hearing Tang Ru's replies, Chen Guo suddenly understood and sighed to herself. She had been way too careless. Saying, "I don't know," was the same as saying, "no comment" to them. She clearly knew something, it was just that she wasn't going to say it. If she did that, the reporters would certainly begin to dig deeper. But with Tang Ru's replies, she didn't say that she didn't know anything. She simply avoided all of the important parts. The one part they did make up was that the two of them didn't know that he was Yi Chu in the beginning. They had only sat together with him coincidentally and got to know him, thinking that he was just a normal audience member. This was quite believable. Let alone two normal audience members. If Yi Chu had swaggered his way over to them, they wouldn't have known that he was Yi Chu, either. Helpless, the reporters could only ask if the two had any photos with him, which they naturally didn't. And then they asked if they could describe Yi Chu's appearance, which came down to Chen Guo to answer. It wasn't because she was good at describing people, but rather it was because she was one of Yi Chu's fans and had seen rumors of Yi Chu's appearance on the internet. She simply took one of them and talked about it. As soon as they heard this, they saw that it matched with other reports in the past, so they didn't doubt it. By doing this, they were able to escape from the reporters. The two let out a sigh of relief. However, Tang Ru was clearly more vigilant than Chen Guo was. After escaping from their claws, she would look around from time to time to see if they had any dogs following them. Once she saw that there weren't any of these people, she finally relaxed and returned to the hotel with Chen Guo. Thus, the All-Star weekend ended. At the hotel, Yi Shu had already turned off the TV long ago, once he saw that the competition was over. When the two returned, he was sitting in front of the computer playing Glory. Chen Guo's excitement wouldn't die down so quickly. Now that she knew of Yi Shu's identity, she would naturally want to hear a god's opinion. Su Mucheng's sudden display was the final deciding factor in the team competition. Yi Shu picked a comment that Chen Guo would definitely want to hear. Sure enough, Chen Guo looked pleased with herself as if she had gotten the piece of candy she had wanted. She then went to chat with Tang Ru. They had talked all the way until it was time to sleep. Then they shooed Yi Shu out of their room and turned off the lights. The next day, they left the hotel early in the morning in order to catch their flight back. At the airport, Chen Guo looked around to see if they would coincidentally bump into any Excellent Era players. Even though Chen Guo no longer felt good about the club anymore, her support for Su Mucheng wouldn't fade. As for whether she would be happy if Excellent Era lost, she still wasn't sure about this. She would feel bad because of Yi Shu if she looked forward to them winning. But she would also feel bad because of Su Mucheng if she looked forward to them losing. Though for this season with the amount of points Excellent Era has, losing or winning doesn't really matter, right? On the plane, Chen Guo finally found something she could accept as a reason. Yeah, Yi Shu nodded his head. After a complicated period since Sun Shang joined the team, their records have turned around for the better and they were starting to rise up on the standings. However, they were simply too far behind now. If they wanted to make a comeback and make it into the playoffs, trying hard wouldn't be enough. The teams ahead of them would have to do poorly. Entering the playoffs was already nearly unachievable in theory. Excellent Era's fans were already talking about the next season and what their future would be then. On the internet, Glory's fans were currently focused on the discussion of this year's All-Star weekend. From Day 1's Rookie Challenge to Day 2's events to Day 3's All-Star competition, there were simply way too many topics to talk about. When Yi Shu and the girls returned to Happy Internet Cafe, some of the more frequent customers looked at Chen Guo and Tang Ru like they were heroes of some sort. They were all Glory fans, so they would definitely watch the All-Star weekend. The two going on stage on the second day made them very surprised. Seeing someone they knew on stage felt quite miraculous. Chen Guo easily accepted everyone's respects. Even after standing 8,000 meters up above everyone, her warmth never faded and she immediately began to chat with them. Lady Tang, how incredible. To think that you could actually beat a pro. In reality, they paid greater attention to Tang Ru. Normal players weren't as ambitious as Tang Ru. Beating a pro once was already amazing to them. Ha ha ha, of course there are talents in my internet cafe. Chen Guo wasn't jealous. She said it very happily. Though when she said this, she couldn't help but glance at Yi Shu. But Yi Shu had already snatched a computer station and was browsing the internet, not caring about their discussion in the slightest. Chapter 344, Chen Guo's Determination. After chatting happily with the customers for a good while, the crowd eventually dispersed. A few of the more clever ones, who hadn't participated much earlier, stealthily snuck up after everyone left to talk to Chen Guo, surprising her. These customers had noticed that Chen Guo, Tang Ru, and Yi Shu had gone to the all-star competition together. When Tang Ru was in a difficult situation, God Yi Chu, who had come out to save her, seemed to be someone Tang Ru knew. From this, it was too easy putting two and two together. Chen Guo had already understood what their intent was before they finished speaking. Luckily, they had already experienced what it was like to be surrounded by reporters yesterday, when the All-Star weekend ended. Even those crafty reporters had been tricked. How could these customers compare to them? Although Tang Ru did most of the work, Chen Guo had still been a part of it. Using what Tang Ru had said yesterday, she sighed together with them, lamenting their chance to meet the god. As for Yi Shu, in her eyes, he was just her lackey. After dealing with those customers, Chen Guo still couldn't rest. After all, she hadn't been in the internet cafe for 3 days and, as the owner, there were still a few matters she had to take care of. She wasn't like Yi Shu and Tang Ru, who could simply throw their luggage to one side after returning and immediately start playing. To be more accurate, only Tang Ru had thrown her luggage. Yi Shu made a beeline for the computer as soon as he had arrived. He hadn't brought any luggage with him and went with them empty-handed. All of the toiletries he used were the ones provided by the hotel. As a result, he returned empty-handed as well. If she hadn't seen everything with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed that he had just come back from a trip. For the past 3 days, Yi Shu and Tang Ru had gone on, but not for very long. Overall, not much had changed. The top guilds had taken Yi Shu's guides for the level 40 to 43,000 Waves Lake dungeon to level and compete for the records. Yi Shu didn't care who got the final record. After getting online, he checked his friends list to see what everyone's levels were. Even though the All-Star weekend had been extremely exciting, the game had been very normal during those 3 days. But even if the players didn't go watch it live at the stadium, the majority of players would still watch it through the broadcast. Because of this, the leveling speed during those 3 days was a bit slower. On his friends list, those from the top guilds had all leveled to 41. As for Steamed Bun Invasion and Concealed Light, they were still pitifully climbing at level 32 and 33. In the Christmas event, the players who hadn't been in Sin City had been tossed far away. Even worse, Steamed Bun Invasion hadn't participated in that event whatsoever. Chao Yifan's 1-inch Ash was doing better than Steamed Bun Invasion, though. Yi Shu saw that he was still online, so he messaged him. However, the system informed him that it was rejected. Chao Yifan had been in City S the entire time. There was no way he had the time to level, which meant that he had handed it over for someone to level it for him. With his background as a pro player, Chao Yifan didn't need to learn and understand the game starting from zero like Tang Ru and Steamed Bun Invasion. Simply getting a max level account and slowly studying it would be the same. It was just that Chao Yifan wanted to learn from God, which was why he made 1-inch Ash. But because he missed the Christmas event opportunity, he had no choice but to find someone to level it for him. And since their levels were higher, the difference in experience was greater and it was already difficult for him to catch up. Seeing this, Yi Shu saw that they wouldn't be able to play together for now. As a result, only he and Tang Ru went to dungeon together. The huge gap in levels due to the Christmas event hadn't shrunk much during these 3 days. The players from the top guilds, who had always been ahead of them, pulled ahead a bit more and were now all at 1000 Waves Lake. Because of this, Sin City was very empty. There weren't even any signs of ghosts at the dungeon entrance when the two entered. The two of them were quite familiar with the dungeon and directly finished their 3 runs of the day. By the time they were done, Chen Guo finished dealing with her matters and logged into the game, as well. Yi Shu casually glanced at her screen and saw that the first thing she did after logging in was leaving her guild. "You're leaving your guild?" Yi Shu asked. "Yeah," Chen Guo nodded her head. "Excellent dynasty?" Yi Shu said. "Yeah, they're disgusting," Chen Guo said. Chen Guo was clearly disgusted by Club Excellent Era now. Their guild, Excellent Dynasty, no longer made her feel proud, either. She decisively left the guild without any signs of reluctance. Apart from this, she also felt worried for Su Mucheng. It was as if she thought Su Mucheng was in some sort of prison. "Do you really need to go that far?" Yi Shu laughed, seeing what Chen Guo was thinking. "I'll make my own guild," Chen Guo said, while replying back to messages. She had been in Excellent Dynasty for a long time, so she had a lot of friends there. Her leaving the guild even before saying hi to them caused a lot of her friends to ask her what was going on. Excellent era is rotten. I'm going to make my own guild, Chen Guo replied in this way to everyone. Her friends who received them were confused. They were doing just fine. What did she mean excellent era was rotten? Sis, is it because of Sun Shang? Her friends began guessing. Sun Zhang's performance in the all-star competition truly was too embarrassing. Sun Shang losing to their rival Han Wenqing made a lot of excellent era's fans unhappy. To their understanding of her, such a shameful event really was enough to make her leave impulsively. No, Chen Guo concluded, in any case, I don't want to be in this lame guild. Who wants to join me? For a moment, very few replied back. Developing a guild in the heavenly domain wasn't easy. Here, the competition was crueler and fiercer. The benefits from joining a top guild like Excellent Dynasty couldn't be compared to those on their own or those in a regular guild. In the heavenly domain, the top guilds weren't only seeking for more numbers like the new server. The qualifications needed to enter one were much higher. In order to join a top guild in the heavenly domain, the player needed to have a certain level of skill. Many of them cherished their status. In addition, those who joined the guild were all supporters of Excellent Era. Their guild, Excellent Dynasty, also had an emotional aspect to it. This sort of loyalty wasn't something normal guilds had. Plus, Chen Guo didn't give a concrete reason to. She simply left for seemingly no reason and then just asked if they wanted to join. Of course they weren't going to respond. If they agreed, then that'd be too careless. If they didn't agree, it wouldn't be good for Chen Guo's reputation. For a moment, they pretended they were dead as if they didn't receive any messages. Some of them even logged out of the game. Only her most ironclad friends replied back, wanting to know why Chen Guo wanted to do so. These were the friends Chen Guo trusted the most in-game, so she didn't hide anything, directly revealing to them why she didn't feel good about Excellent Era. Her friends hadn't even replied back yet, when Yishu said in surprise, "You know a lot." Chen Guo had told her friends about all those things she and Tang Ru had analyzed that night, the guesses they had made about Club Excellent Era. And now that Yishu showed his surprise, Chen Guo turned his head to ask, "Is it like that?" Yishu forced a smile. Chen Guo's displeasure was obviously aimed at Club Excellent Era. To her friends, these speculations were too shocking. They couldn't accept them so easily. You say Yichu's condition had been declining? Did you see that dragon raises its head in the all-star competition? Chen Guo asked. Right, he can still use dragon raises its head. Declining, my ass. It really is Excellent Era scheming, one of Chen Guo's diehard friends shouted. This player was also one of Yichu's loyal fans. He was able to accept it very easily like Chen Guo. That. You couldn't have made so many speculations just because of one dragon raises its head, right? Of course, some of them were more prudent. Truthfully, this was the more logical decision. The previous player had been a brainless fan like Chen Guo and had an easier time accepting news that favored his idol. There's more. But I won't tell you. Anyways, it's like that. I've already left. I'm going to create a guild and overthrow Excellent Dynasty, Chen Guo said. Ridiculous, Yishu suddenly blurted out. Chen Guo immediately turned her head to glare at him. The determination glinting in her eyes frightened Yishu. Even though boss Chen Guo was usually all ominous towards him, Yishu had never seen this sort of determination from her. Topple Excellent Dynasty? Is she serious? Truthfully, for a top guild like Excellent Dynasty, someone like Yishu could cause trouble for them in the new server. But to actually topple them was something even Yishu didn't dare think of. After all, the guild was a very important part of the club's business. This was because the Glory Pro Alliance and the game weren't completely separate. No matter how good the pro players' accounts were, they were still linked to an account card like everybody else's. In addition, upgrading their equipment and improving their skills required in-game materials, experience, and skill points. The creation of the guild in-game could be considered as a safeguard for the pro teams, especially for providing materials. They might be able to set the development of the guild back like what Yishu was doing in the 10th server, but if they were ever in danger of being destroyed, how could the club just sit back and watch? When that time came, the in-game guilds would ask their pros to help and the pros would come to set things right again. It wasn't as if this had never happened before. Pros participating in the battles because of the competition between guilds had happened many times in Glory's history, especially after the creation of the Heavenly Domain. After all, the Heavenly Domain was a place where all the high-level accounts gathered together. Chapter 345, The First Step in Development. It's good that you're determined. But your goal really is a bit impractical. After a brief moment of shock from Chen Guo's determination, Yi Shu returned to his usual calm self. HMPH, I know that. I'm just saying that this is my goal, Chen Guo said. Good luck, Yi Shu said. You're still planning on coming out of retirement, right? Chen Guo asked. Yi Shu nodded his head. When you come out of retirement, don't tell me you're going back to Excellent Era. That's probably not going to happen, Yi Shu forced a smile. How about forming your own team? Chen Guo suddenly said. That's actually a great idea. Were you planning on doing this from the start? Chen Guo asked. I've been thinking about it, Yi Shu said. If your goal in forming a team is to get into the Pro Alliance, then that's going to require a lot of investment, Chen Guo said. Yi Shu nodded his head. Players, money to register for the Alliance, a stadium. Chen Guo began counting with her fingers. Wow, you seem to understand a lot, Yi Shu said. I've been thinking about it, Chen Guo repeated what Yi Shu said. Starting yesterday or from the day before, Yi Shu easily saw through her. Chen Guo could only have thought of doing this after knowing Yi Shu's identity. With how much she knew, she probably learned all about it during these past 2 days. What? Is there something wrong with that? Chen Guo didn't feel embarrassed in the slightest. Aren't you a bit impulsive? Of course not, Chen Guo said. I've thought about it very carefully. It'll still take around a year before you can come out of retirement. During that time, we can start to prepare for it. That'll require you to put up your savings, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo's only property was Happy Internet Cafe. Yi Shu had been working there for some time, so he had an idea on the cafe's income. Having been in a pro team for so many years, Yi Shu also had an idea on what a pro team needed. That wasn't something that Chen Guo's internet cafe could provide. Their initial investment would definitely require Chen Guo's savings. As for how much the boss had, Yi Shu didn't know. You don't need to worry about that. Right now, as the boss, I appoint you as the team captain. Chen Guo lifted her head high. What? It's been created just like that? Yi Shu was astonished. Yup. This historic moment has to be recorded. Come here. Smile. Chen Guo suddenly took out her phone. Hey, Yi Shu didn't have time to object. Chen Guo swiftly pressed near. Tang Ru had also snuck her head in. The camera flashed and, just like that, the photo was taken. Don't worry. I won't spread it around. Chen Guo laughed and carefully stored the photo. Yi Shu turned his head and stared at Tang Ru, who had suddenly snuck into the scene. Captain, Tang Ru saluted. When did you two think of this? Yi Shu was speechless. You don't need to worry about that, Chen Guo said. In short, the team's been created. We three are the first members of the team. Yi Shu looked at the two of them. After a brief moment of silence, he looked at Chen Guo. You should be the boss, as a player, cough. I'll just be in there until you get enough players, Chen Guo angrily said. Yi Shu was obviously trying to say that she simply wasn't good enough to be a player. Chen Guo obviously knew this. Plus, with her age, there wasn't enough time for her to get any better. In the team, she could only be the manager. As for being a player, at best, she could take it up nominally as a sort of comfort. Okay, now that the team's been created, the first thing you two need to do is hurry up and level up. Then, we'll group up in the Heavenly Domain. While you guys are doing that, I'll create a guild and wait for you guys. Our development starts with the guild, Chen Guo commanded in a serious tone. Can I ask what this team will be called? Yi Shu asked. Of course it'll be called Happy, Chen Guo replied instantly. Yi Shu didn't say anything and turned his head to continue playing. Do you have any objections? Chen Guo asked. No, I just wanted to know, Yi Shu said. Truthfully, he didn't care what the name was. Chen Guo's decision to set up a team seemed to be real, but he also felt that it seemed a bit out of nowhere, so Yishu didn't bother thinking about it too much. He'll just see how things go first before making any real decisions. In any case, it's not like they could really do anything right now. After the days go by, he'll see if boss Chen Guo was actually serious or not. After talking, Chen Guo's friends finally responded. In the end, only one fan of Yichu left Excellent Dynasty with Chen Guo. As for the others, they just laughed as if it was all a big joke. Chen Guo wasn't going to force them. Having won already made her feel thankful. She immediately introduced her friend to Yishu. Forest landscape. Battle mage. His mechanics aren't bad. They're just a bit worse than mine, Chen Guo said. Just a bit worse than yours, Yishu repeated. That tone doesn't suit you. In the past, there was no way Chen Guo could bear this sort of mocking tone. But now, even though she couldn't bear it, she had to, because she finally knew who he was. A god looking down on her skill was completely reasonable. As a result, Chen Guo could only take a deep breath and pretend she didn't hear it. She continued, right now, it's just us two. We can't create a guild yet. We'll need more people. Yeah, Yishu nodded his head. It wasn't easy creating a guild in the heavenly domain. There weren't any new players. In order to enter the heavenly domain, everyone that was there had to have a certain level of mechanics and skill. Those who wanted to join a guild would have already done so back when they were in their normal server. Finding people to join a new guild in the heavenly domain would prove to be quite difficult. Usually, guilds were first created in the normal server. Then, once everyone reached level 70 and entered the heavenly domain, they would then create a guild in the heavenly domain. The two guilds would then set up a link. After that link was created, guild players that were able to enter the heavenly domain from the normal player server would directly join the guild with the same name. Directly creating a guild in the heavenly domain would require the creator to have a certain amount of appeal, or it could be achieved through spending money. For appeal, Chen Guo's circle of friends were all from Excellent Dynasty. With Excellent Era's backing behind Excellent Dynasty, they had who knew how much more appeal over Chen Guo's new guild. Pro characters like One Autumn Leaf and Dancing Rain all had their names registered under Excellent Dynasty in the heavenly domain. Members of the guild could easily search up the entire team's pro characters. As for money, that was a bottomless pit. In addition, those who joined would only be there while there were still advantages, so Chen Guo didn't want to use this method. Hey, can I use your name? Chen Guo asked Yishu. As if others would believe you, Yishu said. That's true, Chen Guo thought. She didn't have any fame, but Yishu was different. If she used Yichu's name, creating a guild wouldn't be a problem. The problem was that no one would believe her. Glory had been going on for a long time. Cheating people by lying about their identity had been done who knew how many times. If she said that she was some pro player, the only thing she'd summon would be an angry mob. Chen Guo thought and thought, but she couldn't come up with anything. Let alone her, even if Yishu personally came out, the players would still be doubtful. This was already a type of taboo in Glory. Even if I created one in the normal server, it'd still be troublesome. I'm in an old server, so there aren't many new players, Chen Guo sighed. Her Chasing Haze was in the 5th server. It had already been several years since its creation. Oh, I've got it. You create the guild in the 10th server, Chen Guo suddenly said. I create it, Yishu stared blankly. Yeah, creating a guild in a new server shouldn't be hard, Chen Guo said. That's true, Yishu said, while staring at his character. Lord Grimm. With his character's fame, creating a guild would be way too easy. His fame was simply incomparable. New servers would have a lot of young and naive new players. Players like Tang Ru, who had never touched Glory before without any knowledge of the guilds backed by pros, would only know that in the 10th server, Lord Grimm was number 1. Hurry up and create it, Chen Guo urged. Okay, Yishu nodded his head. To create a team, if they wanted to develop it into a business, then an in-game guild was a requirement. Creating a guild right now was perfect. They could take advantage of being in the new server to snatch resources. It would be their first step for their future. As a result, Yishu sent out a message in the global chat that he would be creating a guild to test out what the response would be like. There had been a long period of peace after the Christmas event. Suddenly, Lord Grimm came out with a bang and flung a heavy explosive. The global chat immediately erupted into chaos. His friends list also began flashing repeatedly. It was currently Monday afternoon. Nearly everyone online right now on his friends list were from the top guilds. All of them sent him messages in order to pry out more information. For these top guilds, Lord Grimm creating his own guild was absolutely terrible news.